Hi, I'm Marilyn San Clemente of Stamp with Marilyn, and welcome to my creative playground. Tonight we're going to play with two different stamp sets that are part of the Autumn Toile suite, and I'm trying to remember the name of them. But I will show you the stamp sets in a minute, along with all the designer paper and all kinds of other things. So let me get my camera set up and we can get started. That is pretty good. So, okay, the first set that's part of this is the Autumn Trees set. And this set is really cool because there's this one really nice tree. This is some of the detail that you can add to it. And then this is a different tree, or a smaller tree. And what's cool about this tree is there is this die that cuts out the stamped image. And then you also have this piece to do the other part of the tree. So there's also some other really cool dies with this. There is these deer, and then this kind of background scene where there's some plants and some rocks and things like that. This is that other tree that's a little bit smaller. And then these cut out... This cuts out the deer. This cuts out one of the rocks. Is it that one? No, it's this one. And then this one cuts out the other one. And then this one does the detail on the leaves. And then these two dies cut this out as well. So that's what makes up this particular set. Let me show you the paper. And I do have to admit, I am almost out of this paper because I've been playing with it this weekend. So there is this really cool foil, and it's a darker brown foil. I would say it's probably, and then these go with it. I would say it is Peel and Stick. It doesn't have a name on it, but it's basically it's a dark brown foil. And so you can use that, and I'm going to show you some different ways that I've used that. And then this set is just a little bit different from most sets. There are 12 sheets of 12 by 12 paper, but there's only 4 designs. Well, I guess I should say 8 designs instead of 12 designs. So there's 3 sheets of each paper. So there's this really, really pretty pumpkin set, kind of a farmer's field type of set. There's some gardens. There's this really pretty tree with some of the animals. There's this really pretty set. This is Mossy Meadow. We've got pheasant, we've got some ducks, all kinds of things here, and some trees. And then we've got this one. This has a lot of fox in it. So, and then this is the back side. That. So these are some great masculine cards. So this is the tree if you stamp it. And then what I did with this was I used my markers to color the stamp. This is the stamp here. I should show you that. So I used, and I didn't bring a brown over. I used a brown marker to color the bottom of the stamp, and then I stamped the rest of this in green. I think I used Old Olive, and then I also used Garden Green, and I used that other stamp that was in here that had a lot of leaf detail on it. I used that and went over it with the with Garden Green. And then this is that bush, and you can cut this piece out, or you can just stamp the whole bush and then color these pieces. Here's the deer that you can color in. This is that background piece. I colored the grass green, obviously. I colored these other 2 deers crumb cake, and I did the stones, and then these are the other 2 stones. So I like to make this cheat sheet to show just different ways. And then I ran out of room. I should have used a full sheet. So this is another one that I did. And as you can see, what I did with this was I cut this out of Early Espresso and then I cut a background out of the green. And later on, after I did this, oh, and then this is detail leaves, and those look like this. And you can do them in different shades. So I have, this one is garden green, and then this one is the lemon lime twist. So that gives you kind of a nice contrast. But then after I did this, I've kind of figured out how to do this, which I'm going to show you. And I like this one much better because this one is kind of, you have to just kind of cut these pieces and then piece it all together, and it's, anyway. So this one, I stamped this with the early espresso, and then I colored in the branches with markers. And then I colored around where the leaves are. I colored that with different colors. So this is the lemon lime twist, and this is old olive. And the reason why the old olive is a little bit darker is because some of the branch, you know, the ink from the branches is there. And then this one I stamped the whole thing. I colored in all the branches, and then I used this die. And I cut this, oops, sorry, it goes this way. And I cut this piece out from here up out of garden green. And then I stamped again on top of that, and then added these leaves from using the lemon lime twist to it. So what I did here was I kind of cut out, because when you stamp this, these branches show through, as with every tree, you can always see the branches. So I kind of cut around that part and then stamped that. So that's kind of two different ways to use this. And I'm going to show you how to do some of that tonight. And then the other set that goes with this is the Amber Autumn set. And this is just a set that this is just like any other set that we have, most any other set. There's nothing difficult about this one to do. And I made several different cards with this. I did a Z-fold card, which I really like. I think that was the first card that I did, was the Z-fold card. And then this set has this piece. So I cut the background out of that brown foil and made a couple of cards with that as well. And then it also has, this one has messages. So obviously there's autumn wishes, blessed to have you in my life, thanks, you're simply the best, and then grateful for you. And then it has these kind of a bush almost, or I guess it could be wheat, a leaf, and then these two images that you can stamp and color in. And that's what I did here. I stamped the leaves and colored them in, and also the acorns. And then I took this, I cut one of these, and I kind of cut it down the middle on a diagonal, and I just cut around the leaves so I could get just a different look with it. I didn't necessarily want this over the whole thing, because then that covers up and you lose that the detail of the designer paper. So I cut that in half, and this is the other half. And then I used that garden image with the pumpkins, and I put the pumpkins here. And then so that I wasn't hiding the paper, I stamped this. I used the Spotlight of Nature dies, the circle dies, and I cut that out of vellum so that you can still kind of see the background a little bit more. It just shows you more of the background on it. So this is the Amber Autumn set, and I really like this set. It's very pretty. It's a very pretty set. I think that there's so much that we'll be able to do with it. So I'm going to set that aside, and what I wanted to focus on tonight is the trees, just because there's so many different things that you can do with this tree, and it took me a while to figure this out. So I figured I might as well share with all of you what I did. And you can learn from my mistakes so that you don't make the same mistakes. So Okay, so I need this die. And then, okay, so this is a very large stamp, so you have to use your largest block that you have. And what I'm going to do is I have a piece of white cardstock here. I'm going to put this up here, out of the way. And I want to make sure that I'm in the picture. Since my picture is small, that is so weird. I think that, oops, I've got to go that way. Okay, so I'm going to stamp that. I think that Facebook has gone so much to Reels. They're, when you post a video now, it's only there for 30 days and then they delete it. And I think that's because that they're really focusing on Reels. And so anyway, and Reels are, narrow because they're always taken with an iPhone, or not, well, it doesn't have to be an iPhone, with a phone, usually with a phone. There we go. There's that. So I am just going to grab, oh no, I do have a marker here. Jeez. Okay. I have my brown, this is my pecan pie marker. And I know these markers are going away. But so what I'm doing is I'm just coloring in the branches on this for now. So now there's a couple of different things that we can do. We can use these leaves, or we can color in this background now with the green. And here is my old olive. So we could do that, which is what I did with this. I used old olive, and then I used the lemon lime twist. I can't get used to that name. I don't know why. I used the lemon lime twist on top of it. So the other thing that we can try is I cut up a whole bunch of colors because fall is coming. And because I live in New England and it's very, very colorful here, I just thought it would be fun to maybe do some fall colors. So I'm going to hold on to those for a minute. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to use these markers. So I have, this is Real Red. I have Cajun Craze. Oops. And I have some crushed curry. And I brought over pumpkin pie, crushed curry, and Real Red. But I didn't bring over the Cajun Craze. Okay. So let's do, and I don't know if you've seen some of the trees where the sections are different, different sections are different colors. But that's pretty common around here in New England. so there is our multicolored tree. I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm going to stamp another one, and I'm going to do the other one with these pieces. Oops, all the different colors. Okay, so, oof. Stamp that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out of a piece of green, and then we'll fit that in here. And as you can see, you can tell where the leaves or the branches are going to come through. Okay, so when you're cutting this, you have to use these two pieces together. I forgot about that. Oh my gosh. And now what I would do is I'm going to cut here and along here. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to use, this one I'll do Mossy Meadow because that's a little bit darker. Oops, if I can get it to, there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp on this. Where did I put that? Okay, but I'm only going to stamp the top. I'm going to stamp the leaves. And hopefully, oh, you know what I could do? I could do this. I've got little paper things on here. Okay, so I don't necessarily want to, well, I guess I do want to stamp the trunk, but okay, so I'm just going to line that up. I'm going to go like that. Usually what I would do is take a piece of paper because the ink's going to come through these little holes. There we go. There's our green. Okay, I think that's the best way to do it. Okay. So now what I would do is we can color this in. So this is garden green. This is old olive. But we can color in areas with the old olive, but the combination of the old olive and the garden green are going to be a little bit darker. I'm going to outline that a little bit. And just outline some of those veins. So if you wanted to do something like this with the color, you could stamp this on white, and then that would allow you to color it, you know, in different colors. So let's say we're going to do that, and then, did I bring over? I didn't bring over my lemon lime. I've got my light old olive in, yeah, that's not going to work. Okay. I'm actually not sure that the lemon lime would work either. Let's see how the orange goes. Yeah. Yeah, that's the, so I think this tree is going to have to just stay green for now. And maybe what I should have done was use lemon lime for the background of the tree and then colored over it because lemon lime's lighter. So I'll have to remember that. So learn from my mistakes. I guess it's not a mistake. There's no mistakes in stamping. It's just opportunities to try something different. And you never know. Sometimes when you do something, it comes out, it's like, oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm going to take my, here it is, my brown, and I'm actually going to cut up. Okay, so the tree is here. It kind of starts here and here. And so I'm going to cut this up like this because I want those branches to show through. Okay, there we go. So we've got that. And then we can put this on like this. Okay. And let's color those branches in. Okay, so there's that. And let's do this. Okay, there we go. So we've got that on. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in a little bit down here with this, which is, this is Old Olive. So it's a little bit different shade of green. So I'm just going to kind of fill in like that to fill in those areas. There we go. And we can move this down a little bit so it lines up. Okay. And what's great about this is it is one large piece, but you just, what I've been doing is just kind of tearing it into little pieces and using little pieces together instead of using it all as one large piece. Okay, so let's do that. Let's put this one kind of there. Now, okay, that looks good. So if we line that up, okay, so I'm going to take that off, put those over there because those are the ones I want to use. So what I mean is with the glue, oh, that's perfect. Okay, you can line it up, and if you need to, you can kind of slide it just a little bit. There we go. Okay. So that's how I have used the tree. So I've used colors, and you could use, oh, you know what would be really pretty? Actually, let's try that. I'll try one more thing here. Okay. I'm going to take my markers. Now, there we go. We're getting there. Okay, so this needs to come down. Okay, so now I need, where's hiding on me? Okay, so I'm just going to run this through. Take a second here. I think this is going to be pretty. Yeah. Okay, I've got to punch out some of this stuff here. Leaves didn't quite end up, or not the leaves, the branches didn't quite end up where I thought they would be. But I will play around with this tomorrow and see what else we can do with it. So stay tuned. And I hope you've learned something from some of my mistakes. Whichever, but I do like this. I like the mixture of this, and I need to figure out how to do some of this blending. But I think if I do this on watercolor paper, I think that might be the way to go. So I will try that, and then I will post. So stay tuned. Take care. Thanks for stopping by. And if you are not on my mailing list, you can go out to stampwithmarilyn.com and sign up for my mailing list. And then you'll receive my weekly emails and newsletters, and then also kind of a report of what is happening in Stampin' Up! And what's going on each month. So thanks so much. Take care and have a great rest of the night.